and will do it on his own. But even still, with that core, that team should win the East next year, no problem. Next line behind that, again, we're taking everybody on paper. Everybody's healthy. Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. They did lose a couple of shooters. They did resign J.J. Redick. I just think that Simmons and Embiid will raise their games up a little bit more to the next level to help that team to contend and compete. Are they better than Boston? On paper, no. Are they better than Toronto and the next three teams I'm going to mention? Yes, they are. And I will still slot Toronto right now on paper with that team as third. And the only reason I'm doing that is because you have a Dwayne Casey assistant who probably is not going to make that many changes to the offense, changes to the defense. He'll put his own little touches here or there. Yes, you have Kawhi Leonard, but you also still have the same team that got swept by Cleveland. And after that game-winning shot in Game 3, basically had their heart took, came in Game 4, and laid down like a dog in the backyard on a hot summer day. They quit. So, I just can't say, well, Toronto is going to be a finals contender. I got them at third. Indiana Pacers could make a run next year. Extremely talented team. Gave the Cleveland Cavaliers, that team at that point in time in its carnation, gave that team all kinds of fits. Stole Game 1, was up 2-1 in the series, stretched it out to Game 7, and Game 7 was again no gimme with Oladipo. Oladipo gave them boys problems. Bogdanovich, he resigned. He's going to be there. Sabonis is back. He's going to be there. Booker's coming back. He's going to be there. They signed Evans from Memphis. Although, again, his game may be a little bit overrated at this point in time, it's still a good addition for that particular team. That team's going to be there. The Milwaukee Bucks, going to be older, going to be a little bit better. With the Greek Freak, Chris Middleton, Thon Maker. Again, they lost Jabari Parker to Chicago, but again, they didn't really have him around for most of the vestiges of the last season. So is that really a big loss for them? No. But that's going to be a team that's going to be there to contend. So all these people that are automatically just handing over the Eastern Conference crown to the Raptors because they got Kawhi Leonard, ought to cost you to pump your brakes. Take a look at the surroundings of what's going on, and then say, okay, we'll see what you're doing here. Yeah, they're about third. Could they jump to 2? Sure. Could they be better than Philadelphia at some point? Sure. We'll see what happens. But are they better than the Boston Celtics as of right now today on paper? Everybody healthy? No. And then from the Spurs standpoint, again, they won 47 games without Kawhi Leonard. Finished 7th in the West. This really doesn't make them any better. Doesn't make them any really that much worse. Going to be still looking at finishing anywhere in the West, anywhere from 4 to 7. Going to be in the mix there with Oklahoma City, Utah. Again, as I said before, potentially Portland, potentially Denver, potentially Minnesota, potentially New Orleans, depending on how things shake out with that particular team. So again, you can be somewhere from 4 to 7. Is that team going to win a championship? No. Are they going to contend with the Warriors? No. The Rockets? No. The Lakers? Maybe. And then there were talks of them getting a third star next year because they'll have the cap room to possibly get back into contention. The thing about it is that, again, as we said before, that's simply not the way that the San Antonio Spurs do business. They're not going to go, as the saying goes, they're not going to go big game hunting. They won't do that. It's not saying it's beneath them. It's just that that's not the way that they do business. So we'll see how things shake out as far as things go in the NBA. This probably was the last big domino. You got a lot of free agents out there, but this was the last big piece of the big domino to fall in the NBA free agency, again with Kawhi Leonard now moving on to the Toronto Raptors. Moving on now to the National Football League. And they say sometimes in sports and in life that if you want to see how much people need you, or how much they love you, you can tell by what they do for you and how they show it to you. And apparently the Pittsburgh Steelers, they love Le'Veon Bell, but they'll love Le'Veon Bell that much. Franchise tag deadline passed here on this past Tuesday. As Bell was previously tagged, he'll play on the $14.5 million franchise tag for this upcoming season, as they weren't able to come to an agreement on a long-term deal. This is going to be Bell's second year in a row that he's going to be playing on the franchise tag. A Saudi long-term deal as far as dating back to 3 seasons, when he stated that he did not want to be tagged in the season preceding last season in which he was, and also this season here coming up. He was reportedly offered a 5-year, $70 million deal by the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only problem with that deal is that only $10 million was guaranteed at signing. That in and of itself, for a player of Le'Veon Bell's stature, in my opinion, is a joke. It would have averaged around $14 million a season, which is what the tag is for this season, and very close to what it was last season. It may be a bump above 15 next year, but we'll get to that because that'll be a tag and signing that he'll probably never ever see, especially if he's in Pittsburgh. Bell is looking for a deal that's going to average around $16 to $17 million a season, with anywhere from $29 to $35 million of the total deal guaranteed. Looks like the Steelers are trying to pay him as a running back only. Bell wanted to be paid as an offensive weapon for what he does for the team and the things that he does there on the field. His agent actually went on NFL Live here earlier this week on ESPN to answer some questions as to why the deal getting worked out and where things go from there. He revealed that Le'Veon Bell has to learn not only the running back playbook, but also the wide receiver playbook as well. Has to step on changes to both playbooks week to week. Has to go to both positional meetings. So if there's a running back meeting one day and a wide receiver meeting the next, Le'Veon has to go to both of them. So again, just like I said with San Antonio, sometimes you pull the curtain back, you take a peek and you go, oh, that's what's going on back there. Yeah, did not know that. Also has to be aware of any sort of week-to-week changes in practice as well as in-game adjustments that are made as well. His agent as well, and also Bell's aware that the shelf life of running backs isn't that long. They understand it. I understand it. Everybody understands it. You can find running backs anywhere in the draft. Look at Kareem Hunt. For instance, with the Chiefs, if they found him somewhere, again, in the 4th round, David Johnson was a late round pick by the Cardinals. So you can find them late in the draft. You can find them anywhere. And again, that's understood as well. The problem is that a back of Le'Veon Bell's stature and of his talent level opens that offense up and also gives it another dimension, making it harder to defend. You have different matchups all over the field that you're able to exploit, pick up chunks of yardage, put more points on the board, and makes the Pittsburgh offense just that much dangerous. Without him, that offense is simply not the same. Where teams are allowed to play Antonio Brown one-on-one, where they can push the safety up to try to keep him from taking the top off the defense, or you can use the safety help deep and just see what happens there, but you can still, double team him. You can play zone against him, try to push him off at the offensive line. Again, you can bring that safety up to shade to his side of the field to try to cut his route off to where they do throw the ball to him. You can deflect it or pick it off. Also rolls downhill to Juju Smith-Schuster as well, to where he's going to be forced into tighter and harder coverages because of some of the things that Le'Veon Bell brings to the offense as far as protections and everything else. Him going out wide, slants, screens, bubble screens, and things of that nature. His agent did say at the time that the tag was signed that this probably would be his last season with the Steelers. And again, looking at somewhere we're going to deal where maybe 29 to 35% of the actual deal is guaranteed at signing. He did say that he would show up at the start of the season like he did last year. And this was brought up on several programs that I watched this week, and I kind of agree with what they said with this. Maybe he should show up at the beginning of the season. Because he signed that tag, he basically can miss the first 6 games of the season. He can miss out the first 6 weeks. Show up week 7, play the rest of the season, and still earn the accrued season towards free agency. Those of you guys don't know what that means. Under the franchise tag, you are allowed to miss X amount of games. You have to show up to a certain percentage of games in order to actually become a free agent that next following offseason, i.e. the quote-unquote accrued season. The accrued season is 10 games, not 16. That's less wear and tear. Hits, practice, bumps, bruises, the whole deal. If he plays all 16, they're going to give him 40 touches like they did last year. I wouldn't do that. I would sit at home, play with my kids for the first 6 games of the season. Because you're basically going to be giving them a taste or a preview of, hey, once I'm gone, this is what you guys got to deal with now. They have James Conner, they have other running backs, but they're not on the level of a Le'Veon Bell. So, for Pittsburgh, again, if they want to pay him, and again, they have been stingy at times paying their free agents. Some people over the years have gotten paid. Hines Ward got paid. Ben Roethlisberger got paid. Of course, Antonio Brown got paid. James Harrison got paid a little here or there. Going back to Rod Woodson, to where on one side of his on the top side of his career he did get paid. On the back side of his career he didn't. He went to Oakland and Baltimore. So again, this is just the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is how they do business. It's not necessarily the right way, or you can look at it and go, hey, this is a good way to go about it. But again, this is how they do business. It's how they've always done business as a team and as a franchise. But again, if I were Bill, I would strongly consider bypassing the first 6 games of the season. Show up week 7. Hey, how you guys doing? Put the pads on and get ready to hit free agency next year, where hopefully somebody will pay him the money that he's willing to look for. But again, because if they're paying him about his position, he won't. If they're paying him for what he does, then he will. So, for the time being here now, this will be an issue that'll go away, but it definitely is worth bearing watching here into the next off season. Moving forward here again with the National Football League and the national anthem. Same song, same verse, same issues with the Miami Dolphins, who just released a statement from owner Stephen Ross here, which I'll read here in just a moment. As around this time yesterday, the Associated Press reported the Miami Dolphins had modified their policy to include any protesting of the national anthem as conduct detrimental to the team, and such violations could be, such acts could be interpreted as conduct detrimental, and you could possibly be suspended for up to 4 games and or fined by the team per the policy. ESPN's Jeff Darlington also reported an hour later after this was posted on Twitter and also on SportsCenter that the team did not intend to enforce the policy. It was just something that they had to put out there as they were required by the NFL to submit their rules and regulations for the year, and also their rules and regulations in regards to the national anthem policy. Sources with the Dolphins and the NFL say Miami merely submitted this request of annual discipline per the NFL schedule, and also required by the league at dates in conjunction with the start of training camp, which the Miami Dolphins will start training camp here relatively shortly. Basically, Stephen Ross's statement walks back the protest decisions here as I pick up my little monitor here and read his statement. And it basically says, quote, "We were asked to submit a form to the NFL on our overall discipline policy prior to the start of the rookie camp report date. The one-line sentence related to the national anthem was a placeholder, as we have not made a decision on what we would do, if anything, at that point. I'm pleased that the NFL and the NFL Players Association are taking a pause to figure out the resolution on this issue, which I'll get to here in a moment. I am passionate about social justice through the Miami Dolphins and the creation of Rise. We will continue to use the unifying power of sports to improve race relations and drive social progress." That to me is kind of hard to. It's kind of a hard pill to swallow. Because before this whole Anthem business came about, Stephen Ross was one of the owners that were steadfastly behind the players.